From my corner office on the 50th floor of Sterling Towers, I watched my father scan his employee badge at the security gate. Even from this height, I could see the slight stoop in his shoulders, the hesitation before he entered the building. How different from the man who'd stood over our Christmas dinner table 3 years ago, condemning my choices with such absolute certainty. "Miss Parker." My assistant Sarah's voice came through the intercom. "The layoff papers are ready for your signature. Bring them in." I turned from the window as Sarah entered, carrying a thick folder marked Department Restructuring. Inside were the documents that would end my father's career at Sterling Financial, along with the careers of everyone else in his department. "The board approved everything," Sarah said, placing the folder on my desk. "They agree the merger makes these positions redundant." I sat down, running my fingers over the smooth leather of my chair. The same chair my father had once proudly shown me during a Take Your Daughter to Work day, back when he was Senior VP of Sterling Financial. "You'll sit here someday," he'd said, "if you work hard and follow my path." But I hadn't followed his path. I'd chosen my own, and that's when everything changed. The Christmas dinner that changed everything played in my mind like a movie I couldn't stop watching. A startup. My father had laughed, the sound sharp and dismissive. "You're leaving Sterling Financial to start a tech company? Have you lost your mind, Olivia?" I'd sat there, trying to keep my voice steady as I explained my vision. "The future of finance is digital, Dad. Traditional banks are going to be obsolete if they don't adapt. My platform could." "Could what?" He cut me off. "Compete with established institutions? Banks that have existed for centuries? You'll always be a failure if you throw away everything I've built for you." My mother had busied herself with the turkey, avoiding conflict as usual. My brother Michael, already following in Dad's footsteps at Sterling, had smirked into his wine glass. "She just wants attention," he'd said. "She'll come crawling back when her little experiment fails." I hadn't come crawling back. Instead, I'd taken my savings, sold my car, and moved into a tiny apartment to fund my company. FinNext was born in that apartment with nothing but a laptop and an unwavering belief in my vision. The first year was brutal. 18-hour days, countless rejections, ramen noodles for dinner more often than not. My father made sure everyone at Sterling knew about my foolish decision, effectively blacklisting me from traditional banking. But he'd forgotten one thing. When you have nothing to lose, you have everything to gain. FinNext's breakthrough came in our second year. Our mobile banking platform caught the attention of a major tech investor. Suddenly, the doors that had been slammed in my face began to open. My father noticed. Of course he did. But not the way I'd hoped. "Playing with apps isn't banking," he declared during another disastrous family dinner. "Real financial institutions deal with real money, not this digital nonsense." 3 months later, FinNext launched our blockchain-based payment system. Traditional banks scrambled to catch up as our user base exploded. The digital nonsense was revolutionizing the industry. I kept my name out of the press, using my first initial and middle name on all company documents. Oh, Grace Parker became known as a mysterious tech innovator, while Olivia Parker remained a disappointment in her father's eyes. Then came the opportunity I'd been waiting for. Sterling Financial, struggling to compete in the digital age, put itself up for sale. The board, desperate for modernization, looked for buyers who could help them transition into the future. They never suspected that the mysterious holding company making an offer was mine. Never realized that the strategic tech partnership they were so excited about was FinNext, operating under a different name. The acquisition was completed 3 months ago. Sterling Towers, once a symbol of my father's success and my failure, became mine. But I didn't reveal myself immediately. Instead, I watched and planned. My father and brother kept their positions during the transition, though they were demoted as the company restructured. Michael complained endlessly about the new management's obsession with digital transformation. Yesterday they finally learned the truth. The company-wide email went out at 9 a.m. "Oh, Grace Parker, CEO of FinNext and new owner of Sterling Financial, will be addressing all employees at 10 a.m. in the main auditorium." I stood on that stage, wearing the confidence they'd tried to strip from me, and watched realization dawn on their faces. "Many of you know me as Grace Parker," I'd said into the microphone. "Some of you know me as the failure who left Sterling Financial 3 years ago to start a tech company." The auditorium had gone silent. In the third row, my father's face had turned pale. Michael, sitting beside him, looked like he might be sick. Today, I'm here to announce the complete digital transformation of Sterling Financial. Those who are willing to adapt will be part of our future. Those who aren't. I'd let the sentence hang. Now 24 hours later, I held the layoff papers in my hand. The entire traditional banking services department, my father's department, would be eliminated. Their functions replaced by the very digital systems they'd mocked. Sarah placed a pen on my desk. The board meeting starts in an hour. They'll want these processed before then. I picked up the pen, its weight familiar yet suddenly significant. Through my window I could see my father at his desk in the building across the plaza. Still working, unaware that in a few hours his career at Sterling would end. Miss Parker. Sarah's voice was gentle. Are you sure about this? We could find another position for him. I thought about all the Christmas dinners, family gatherings, and casual conversations where they'd belittled my dreams. All the times they'd declared me a failure, never bothering to understand what I was building. No, I said firmly. The merger makes these positions redundant. It's just business. Just business. The same words my father had used when denying promotions to qualified employees who didn't fit his traditional banking mold. The same words he'd used to justify his resistance to change. I signed the papers. Have security ready, I told Sarah. When HR delivers the news, I want the transitions to be immediate. She nodded, gathering the documents. Will you watch? I turned back to the window. Yes. Some failures need to be witnessed. The irony wasn't lost on me. The building he'd once proudly shown me, the office he'd promised would be mine if I followed his path, they were mine anyway. Just not the way he'd planned. Sometimes success looks like failure to those too blind to see the future. And sometimes the best revenge is simply proving them wrong. At exactly 2 p.m., I watched HR representatives enter my father's department. From my office, it looked like a scene from a silent movie. People standing up in shock, papers dropping, some crying, others arguing. My father sat motionless at his desk as the HR manager delivered the news. Security is in position, Sarah reported. No incidents so far. I nodded, unable to look away from the unfolding scene. Has my brother received his notice yet? Yes. He's being escorted to his exit interview now. Michael had been easier to replace. His role in traditional banking services had mostly involved golf games with clients who were now using our digital platforms anyway. My phone buzzed, my mother. I declined the call. She'd enabled their behavior for years, always choosing peace over progress. Now she'd have to deal with the consequences too. Miss Parker. Sarah's voice was hesitant. Your father is requesting a meeting. He's quite insistent. Of course he was. He'd never taken no for an answer, until now. Send him up in 10 minutes. Let him wait in the lobby first. I used those 10 minutes to prepare, not just mentally but symbolically. I removed the family photo from my drawer, the last Christmas before I left Sterling Financial, and placed it facing my visitor's chair. Let him see what we used to be, what his stubbornness destroyed. When he finally entered, he looked smaller than I remembered. His Sterling employee badge still hung from his neck. For the next 15 minutes anyway. Why? His voice cracked on the word. I gestured to the chair. Sit down, Dad. Let's discuss this professionally. Professionally. He remained standing. You destroyed my department. 30 years of banking experience, thrown away for your apps and digital gimmicks. Gimmicks. I pulled up FinNext's performance charts on my wall screen. These gimmicks process $2 trillion in transactions annually. They've made banking accessible to millions of underserved people. They're the future you refuse to see. I'm your father. No, I said calmly. Right now you're a former Sterling Financial employee whose position has become redundant. Just business, remember? He flinched at his own words thrown back at him. You planned this, he accused. Bought the company just to get revenge. I bought the company because it was failing. I stood up, matching his stance. Sterling Financial's quarterly reports show a 60% decline in traditional banking revenue. Your department costs more than it generates. The board approved these layoffs unanimously. The board doesn't know you're doing this to your own family. The board knows exactly who I am. They also know I've built a company worth 10 times what Sterling was worth when you called me a failure. He sank into the chair finally, the fight draining from him. His eyes fell on the Christmas photo. I was wrong, he whispered. Yes, you were. About everything. So this is my punishment? Taking away my career. I sat back down studying him. This isn't punishment, Dad. It's evolution. Banking is changing. Companies either adapt or die. I gave your department 3 months to embrace digital transformation. You fought it every step of the way. Because it's not real banking. Tell that to our 15 million users. Tell that to the traditional banks desperately trying to catch up with our technology. Tell that to the board members watching their stock price triple since the merger. I pressed a button on my desk phone. Sarah, bring in the other package. She entered with another folder, placing it in front of my father. What's this? He asked. A choice. I opened the folder. Inside are 2 documents. The first is your standard severance package. Generous, given your years of service. The second is a job offer. He looked up sharply. FinNext's digital transition team needs experienced bankers to help traditional clients adapt to new systems. Someone who understands both worlds. The salary is less than you made as department head, but the stock options could be significant. You're offering me a job? After firing me? I'm offering you a future. The same future you rejected 3 years ago. The question is, are you ready to admit the world has changed? He stared at the documents for a long moment. Outside my office windows, the city stretched endlessly, filled with banks and financial institutions all facing the same choice. Evolve or fade away. Your brother, he said finally. Did he get the same offer? No. I was direct. Michael hasn't shown any interest in learning or growing. He can take his severance and find another traditional bank to work for. While they still exist. My father picked up the job offer, reading it carefully. I'd be working for you. Yes. The daughter you called a failure would be your boss. Can you handle that? He was quiet for a long time, looking between the documents and the family photo. Finally, he picked up my pen. I was proud, arrogant, and wrong, he said, signing the job offer. I chose my ego over seeing your vision. I can't undo that, but I can learn from it. I took the signed document, feeling an unexpected weight lift from my shoulders. Training starts Monday. Don't be late. He stood up, removing his old Sterling employee badge and placing it on my desk. Will I get to work with you directly? No. You'll report to Sarah. She's our new head of digital transition. His eyes widened as he looked at my assistant, who smiled professionally. Another assumption of his shattered. After he left, Sarah turned to me. That was unexpected. He surprised me too, I admitted. Maybe people can change if you force them to see the truth. The next few months transformed Sterling Financial completely. Our digital platforms replaced traditional banking services entirely. Some old guard employees left, unable to adapt. Others, like my father, embraced the change and thrived. Michael took his severance and joined another traditional bank, still refusing to accept the industry's evolution. Mom finally found her voice, telling him he was making the same mistake they'd made with